Jaitley, thank you very much for joining us on Frankly Speaking. Very good to talk to you again. Uh, is there any life left in your party now after the UP elections?
I've always advised anchors and journalists, the most dangerous thing after just one election is to start writing obituaries. In politics, the underlying principle is never do that. For the simple reason that one election is not the entire politics. 2 months ago, after Punjab and Uttarakhand, probably you would have started this interview with a different question. One defeat and you start with a different question.
No.
There is never a last day in the calendar of politics. We've done badly in UP. But then there are several states coming in a divided polity of this kind where we are going to do reasonably well.
I'm not sure if I got a politician's answer or a diplomat's answer or a lawyer's answer there. But there is a story doing the rounds that in the BJP, when the Jansangh did very badly once in the 1970s, then Vajpayee and Advani went out to see a film in Delight. And they recommended to everyone that they should see the film. It was called Fir Subah Hogi. You think?
I think we've traveled.
You think the time is?
I don't know. We've traveled a long distance thereafter. Today, in 6-7 states, we have our governments. In some states, we have it in partnership with our NDA allies. We have a Congress party as our principal opponent at the center, which is doing very badly. UP, of course, is a different story for which there are reasons. But I don't think after UP you can say we've done badly. But then when you do badly, you always wait for the next morning, as you rightly said, Phir Subah Hogi. And then don't be under an impression that these kind of trends, even in a state like UP, are permanent. These are transient trends. The politics is all about revolving doors.
I didn't complete my question there actually. Many people followed that up by saying that for Arun Jaitley, who was in a bad situation within the BJP when Rajnath Singh took over, UP was the first subah. It was the morning all over again, and there were several analyses done saying that not good for the party, but very good for Arun Jaitley.
No, I completely repudiate that for the simple reason. Just understand my background. Out of my 54 years, I spent 10 years in the ABVP and 27 years in the BJP since it was formed. 37 of my 54 years have gone into the organization. I certainly don't have the image or a past or even a future of a man who has any idea of politics outside the BJP. I am one of those committed who will always remain a part of the party, whether I have a position or I don't have a position. I was last given charge of the party in Punjab. Thereafter, I was asked to help the party in Delhi in the municipal elections which were on by the time the UP elections had started. Now, having finished these 2 elections, UP was not a part of my principal responsibility.
That's the
but
point.
I can tell you,
that's the point.
Whenever I was asked to go to UP for the campaign,
of course you went. Of course you would go as a disciplined soldier of the party. But coming as this debacle did, it was under Rajnath Singh's charge. After the BJP did exceptionally well in Punjab, which was under your charge. Allow me to complete. After the successive good performances in Uttarakhand, as you said yourself, in the Delhi municipal polls, the only obvious thing will be, the way to look at it will be, there's Rajnath Singh, who was giving Arun Jaitley a tough time, removed him from spokesperson, took charge of the UP elections, didn't give Arun Jaitley a role, and in the one election he was expected to deliver returns. There were no returns, whereas if Arun Jaitley's record is to be looked at, it's fantastic. So there is going to be an obvious comparison, and many people it's great for you that you in a way have proved your point.
I think it's terrible for me. It's bad for me. And the fact that such an analysis is made is in fact worse for me. I have 3 responses to give. First, a lot is being read into this spokesmanship. In any party, you get a responsibility, you deliver it for a couple of years, then you grow out of it. If the party president, who's the first amongst the equals, feels that you must be given an alternate responsibility, he is entitled to it. A lot of people have made an issue of it. I have not, and I don't intend to make an issue of it. That's one. 2, when the party loses, even in a state like UP, I think each one of us, including myself, has a part of the responsibility. We don't live in a culture we start the blame game and say only one gentleman is responsible for it.
That's the public posture. That's the public posture.
And 3, I can tell you that none of us has a magic wand who could have converted this UP result into some form of a victory, even if I had been there. The UP result, as I have analyzed it, behind every election there is one big idea. And the idea behind the UP election was who's best suited to replace Mulayam Singh Yadav. There was an anti-Mulayam mood, except in that segment.
You never sensed along the way that this kind of result would come?
Speaking for myself, I can tell you I was never very highly optimistic, but you don't give these opinions during the course of an election. And the reason why I was not very optimistic was that a series of opinion polls pre-elections had shown us in the vicinity of less than 20%. Now, if you are less than 20%,
you call those polls slovenly attempts by some media houses. This was your description,
no,
Mr. Jaitley.
No.
You call these polls?
No, I am not given into using such adjectives. But I can tell you, the polls lost credibility in the way the polls went on. But I don't want to make a comment. These are honest mistakes pollsters may make.
I can't allow you to slip away.
Well, first of all, let me tell you, I don't intend slipping away. I intend to take that question head on.
For a party like yours, the absence of any one idea to try and win India's largest state, who should take responsibility for that, if not your party president?
I think the party as a whole takes responsibility, and I'll tell you the reason. As I said, the big idea, as I analyze it now, was that the voters were looking for a replacement of Mulayam. BSP and Mayawati went with a campaign that we have the best credentials to replace him, we'll teach him a lesson. Their entire social repolarization was pursuant to this campaign. We lack the credentials to do that. And the reason we lack the credentials to do that...
That's not true. That's not true.
I'll tell you the reason, if you allow me to complete. And that has nothing to do with an individual or the party president. The first reason we lack the credentials was, people perceived that in 2003, when Mulayam Singh Yadav came to power, we had gone out and he was enabled to come to power. Two, they wouldn't forget that one of our senior leaders in this election, Kalyan Singh Ji, was with him in the last elections. Our party president was the speaker when he came to power. He should have resigned at that moment. That was a mistake. The party took a belated decision requesting Kesarinath Ji to resign. And I think the most important was, both Mulayam Singh Yadav and the BJP are anti-Congress. There was therefore a reasonable perception that these two anti-Congress groups can regroup together. Therefore, you are not the alternative. Mayawati is the alternative. The electorate told us.
Out of the points, you made 4 points there. 3 points are steeped in history. I will not go into them. The fourth point. Why could some parties be seen as interchangeable? There is a very strong view, Mr. Jaitley, and let's accept the truth where it is to be taken, that there was a half-hearted, weak, unsure attempt at Hindutva. And there was a lot of confusion within your own party as what really is the BJP's agenda, and never before in the history of the BJP has the confusion of the BJP reflected so much in an election campaign as in Uttar Pradesh. You know, one day you talk about internal security, one day you talk about Hindutva, one day you will talk about price rise, one day you will talk about law and order, whereas Mayawati on the other hand at least had one straight campaign she went to the people of Uttar Pradesh with. Why was there so much confusion? Should you have just dumped the Hindutva campaign, reorganized yourself?
I don't think there's a question of dumping the campaign. The campaign perhaps thought, and I'm going to justify that campaign, that as far as the mood is concerned, we need to show that we are an alternative to all three, the BSP, the SP and the Congress. And therefore, ideological issues were put at the forefront.
Not backed by any conviction?
No, we thought this would work.
But was there any conviction in doing that?
There was conviction, but there was one harsh reality, that the mood of the people was not there to accept this campaign. The mood of the people was, who is in a position to replace Mulayam Singh Yadav?
Are you being totally honest when you say that? As far as Hindutva is concerned, was there real conviction? Wasn't there a serious feeling within your party that having had 5 years of your own government in charge, Vajpayee as Prime Minister, you cannot go to the people of Uttar Pradesh today and like Mr. Advani did when he said, I will not say Jai Shri Ram, almost sounded apologetic. Rather than sounding convinced about the
I don't think when the BJP raised its issues on an aggressive nationalistic plank, you have issues of the kind of the internal security situation, the dialogue with Pakistan, the Kashmir situation, the terrorism, and various other issues which relate to the country. Now, when the whole package is made, you see Hindutva only in the context of the Ram Mandir movement. But the definition of Hindutva and the conception that we have is much wider.
The argument of it being a way of life is one thing. The argument of it being one of the election issues is another. The RSS has criticized the BJP roundly. I can get you the quotes, but I'm sure you are aware of it as well, Mr. Jaitley. Roundly criticized. Never before have I seen such criticism by the RSS as after the UP elections, of the confusion within the party on the Hindutva issue. And the RSS has said that, this kind of a half-hearted Hindutva line. Here's the quote. The BJP lost team midway. This is the organizer. Its campaign got stuck between half-hearted Hindutva and development governance. The collective anger of the poor and the Hindu is in full play. For the BJP, it is a huge setback. It has touched its lowest ever. Issues like building a Ram temple were in the background. An aggressive Hindutva approach would have ensured greater success, but the party was very restricted.
Well, first of all, let me tell you, the organizer editorial is the views of the organizer editor. The RSS has repeatedly clarified that these are not the views of the RSS. That's point one. Point two.
So you don't think the RSS believes in this?
Point two.
You don't think the RSS...
I have not said that. These are the views of the organizer editor. Okay. Two, as far as Hindutva campaign was concerned, or an aggressive nationalist campaign on various issues was concerned, that campaign was very much there in UP. That campaign did not work, and I am now analyzing the reason why it didn't work, because the mood of the electorate was not on those issues. The mood of the electorate was, who can replace the Samajwadi Party?
That's nationally. It's not just, is the mood of the electorate anywhere in other parts of India, you believe, going to be such that with a singular campaign on Hindutva, even if you were to have that campaign, it would have anywhere close to the impact of 91, 92, 93.
Well, according to me, in a given situation, it can have an impact.
So in Gujarat, you'll go back to that
campaign? No, I'm not for a moment saying that. Gujarat, for the last 5 to 6 years, has shown you exemplary governance in terms of development. That will be a key issue in Gujarat also, amongst various other issues. But let me, for example, tell you, if the way that this government is faltering on its Kashmir policy, next year there is an election in Jammu and Kashmir, I think the Kashmir policy and internal security will be a huge issue as far as Kashmir is concerned. And therefore, it will depend on the context in which a given election in a state is held.
Okay, you're slipping away there, but Mr. Jaitley, I won't let you do that. I know you've been a very good debater in college. Many people know that. But I can't allow you to slip away. The fact is that the controversial communal CD, you were there in the forefront, marching angrily to the Election Commission every week, every day almost. And there was a view that Arun Jaitley believes that he will, instead of the BJP looking defensive on the communal CD issue, take an aggressive line and in other ways allow a larger political debate on whether the BJP again is being targeted because it takes a slightly hardline issues on issues that it sees as protecting the interests of Hindus. That was a straightforward attempt of yours. You regret doing that?
Well, first of all, let me tell you, I don't intend slipping away. I intend to take that question head on.
I like that.
And head on is...
I like that.
Head on is that on the 3rd of April, the BJP in Lucknow wrote to the Election Commission saying that we have 8 CDs which we want to use in the election. If we had any intention of using this 9th CD, we would not have sent those 8 CDs to the Election Commission. The Election Commission sent us those 8 CDs back. When these 8 CDs in a packaging were released in Lucknow, a 9th CD was unauthorizedly slipped in. The 9th CD had not been approved by the party leadership. When we realized this, on the 4th itself, 3 things happened. 1, the party made a statement in Delhi and Lucknow withdrawing this CD. 2, the person responsible was identified and slipped off his responsibility. And 3, the state secretary of the party wrote to the Lucknow Election Commission expressing regret for this mistake that the party had done. The Election Commission notice came to us only 2 days thereafter. We had suo moto done this. These facts were placed before the Election Commission. The Election Commission, after all this hearing and marching and not marching, was satisfied. And they said, what you have told us, please make this public and distance yourself by condemning the CD.
So all the heat and dust and all the anger and public statements and attempts at making it an election issue in the run up to UP.
No, we never made the CD an election issue. We withdrew it voluntarily on the 4th itself, much before the Election Commission
hearing. Unequivocal and unambiguous declaration now that you condemn the contents of the CD, You're happy with that?
Well, I think the party did the right thing. I was one of those who advised the party to do it. When my stand before the Election Commission was, this is not our CD, we have nothing to do with this CD, and the Election Commission said, say it publicly and distance yourself from this CD, as a responsible political party, we ought to have done that. We did exactly the same.
Lesson for the future for the Gujarat elections: do not come out with any propaganda that will be seen. Allow me to complete, sir. That will be seen to be divisive. That will be seen to be polarizing the voter. That will be seen to be not in the national interest and not really enhancing the quality of the
According to me, the election law in this country is very clear. Rather than use generalized phrases, I would only say this: any responsible political party will have to live and exist within the parameters of those guidelines. There are some issues on which there will be conflicting stands between the parties.
You're on record as you're saying this, because this will be quoted later.
Obviously, I am on record. The BJP would always endeavor to stay within the parameters of law and not breach that law.
And it won't be breached in Gujarat.
It will not be breached anywhere in the country, and that is why in Uttar Pradesh, nobody has an answer to this question. We voluntarily withdrew the CZ and expressed regret for it on the 4th itself. We stated this before the Election Commission. The communal propaganda was not on our side. It was Congress and BSP and Jan Morcha competing with each other. Who can take a more belligerent anti-CD posture, particularly when the CD was not there?
Effectively, you see yourself in the next 2 or 3 years taking over the party?
Well, I have no such ambitions. I see myself as an integral part of the party, working for the party in the same capacities in which I am working today.
Jaitley, many people see you, many of our viewers at least, Times Now viewers, see you as, they've seen you as a future face, they've seen you as an urban face, as an acceptable face of the BJP, and there are many who would want to know from you why the BJP is so defensive on issues it should just come out clean on. I mean, the Katara case, for example, one of your MPs is caught in a human trafficking case. Why not take tough action and say it's a huge mistake instead of, looking to be defensive about it?
I think, Aruna, you will have to give us the benefit of our positions on issues like this. The Katara came to surface.
Yes.
The BJP suspended him that very day. The party has not made any effort to defend him. But let me tell you, there are enough friends in the media the BJP has who would always like the contrarian view. For example, in the Katara case, how does this question arise when on day one we've said we suspend Katara? In the CD case, on day one we say it's not ours, it stands withdrawn, the gentleman who's responsible is stripped of his responsibilities. Then to go on for the next 15 days making
But that was not your response, sir. That was not, Mr. Jaitley, with due respect. That was not your initial response. I have your initial response with me on the Katara case.
Katara was suspended on the very day that the allegation surfaced.
Mr. Jaitley, you said 28th of April, Katara episode is an aberration. Arun Jaitley. These are individual aberrations. Here a man has committed a mistake. In such a case, the party's honesty and integrity is tested as to what stand it takes on the issue. We have portrayed our honesty on the issue from day one.
Then this is exactly what I am telling you.
On the 22nd, you say in Varanasi, we will take action if any other leader is found guilty in the human trafficking case. No substantive action really. No really apologetic note. You're a member of parliament.
I think I would advise you not to make an issue out of it where none exists. What I have told you now and what you have quoted me as saying, my party's honesty would be demonstrated by the fact, do we defend Katara or do we distance ourselves from him and suspend him on that very day? That's what we said on the 28th of April and that's what I'm saying now. There has been no attempt by the BJP to take any soft positioning on the human trafficking case. The party has come out clean. It was an aberration and a mistake by one individual. Let him suffer the consequences.
Why are there more and more aberrations within your party? Your party general secretary caught in a sleaze racket. I won't mention the person. In a sleazy CD racket. He was dropped from an official position within your party. Now this case that's happening in Gujarat.
Well, I think
the controversial police officer who seems to have been allowed to carry on a slew of shootouts at his own will by your state government.
I'm afraid a lot is being read into it.
Right.
every party will be measured by the standards that it keeps professing for itself. We had portrayed ourselves as a party with a difference. And even when stray cases of this kind come up, our initial positioning of ourselves stares us in the face. And therefore, it causes a great amount of embarrassment. And when you say this, there are half a dozen members in different scams who've been caught. I can honestly confess to you, we are all terribly embarrassed. We make no effort to do it, and this is one of our serious concern issues we have within the party, how to rid ourselves of this kind of a culture and element. After all, politics gets reflected by the entire situation in the society itself. Now, let's come to the Gujarat police officer.
That's not the answer somebody would have expected from one of the tallest BJP leaders, because you should be more worried that your party will be almost indistinguishable from, say, the Samajwadi Party or any other party.
I am worried for the fact that I would like my slate to be completely clean. Few drops on it blur us, and that's a matter of serious concern for each one of us.
What have you done really to stop it?
According to me, the party leadership now has to be more vigilant, even in the matter of granting party nominations, both the state and the central leadership. Okay. I think we've been a little too casual about it, and I think time has come now to learn the lesson from these mistakes and be a little upright and tough about it.
That's an acknowledgement. Mr. Jaitley, you were saying something about the Gujarat case. You seem to be readying for a tirade on the Gujarat issue, defending your friend Narendra Modi.
According to me, linking Narendra Modi to the whole episode, I can understand news after news, and finally you find not a shred of evidence. What was the allegation? Some officers of the police of Gujarat government had gone ahead, and in some case there is an alleged encounter. The matter is brought to notice of the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court says, please investigate. The Gujarat government constitutes an investigation.
Case after case, testimony after testimony, court after court has observed on this one case. It's come down to this: the investigating officer has been asked to report straight to the Supreme Court.
And the Supreme Court has said that they are fully satisfied with the investigation of the state police.
Yeah, but the state police of an individual officer. What
did the state government do?
Who's been seen as a whistleblower in this case.
What did the state government do?
The
moment confidence was expressed.
Many of your ministers sees today as a whistleblower in the case.
According to me,
who seem to be the greatest liability for the Narendra Modi government.
I don't think if it was a liability, the state government would not have put the officer back voluntarily. The lady officer has been put back voluntarily.
Because there's no choice.
It's not a question of choice. The officer has a free hand. The officer has made a public statement that there has been no interference from day one as far as the investigation of this case is concerned, and the state government is prepared to come out clean.
Mr. Jaitley, there are two faces of Arun Jaitley. One is the Arun Jaitley in Delhi, and the other is your very strong but difficult to understand equation with Narendra Modi. Many people don't see these two going hand in hand together.
Where is the contradiction? Narendra Modi is one of the most competent chief ministers in the country. In terms of developmental politics in the state, perhaps there is not a second equivalent that he has in the country. He's a man of total integrity and has delivered exceedingly well as far as Gujarat is
electoral politics.
In terms of electoral politics, he has done very well in the state. He has won elections after elections. The difficulty is that there is a certain amount of baggage, and that baggage is the unfortunate incidents which took place in 2002. Now,
when you defended him,
because until today, 5 years later, if I turn back and ask a question, has anybody got a shred of evidence of his personal involvement in any one of them? The answer is no. But everybody who's been vying for his blood would like to see his involvement in each of those cases.
The reason I asked you this, many people say that for the future leadership, just like there is a Advani and there is a Vajpayee, that there is a positioning of a Narendra Modi and an Arun Jaitley. Slightly hardline, more acceptable.
I don't think...
Advani and Vajpayee, Narendra Modi and Arun Jaitley.
Well,
interesting positioning. And, you know...
But I can only assure you that within the party, we never have personal equations or political equations of this kind of a line. What happens in the future in politics is extremely difficult to plan or even imagine at this stage. None of us because I think the question is one which is intended to instigate a smile because you're trying to fish for information. But let me tell you, these are not issues on which we've even hallucinated.
The same smooth-talking lawyer of the Supreme Court will go to Gujarat and be part of a very high-pitched, polarized, almost communal campaign in September, October, November. How much truth is there in that conjecture?
Well, I will certainly be a part of the campaign. I'll be certainly a part of a high-pitched campaign, but I can tell you, some persons not very well disposed to Narendra Modi may say it will be a communal campaign. In how many cases were elections of those 128 MLAs of BJP who were elected last time were set aside on the ground of a communal campaign. Not even an allegation in court in hardly any one of them could have been made. None of them were set aside. Now, how you perceive it in the media or how would you love to perceive it is a different matter. On the ground, the campaign in Gujarat will be strongly nationalistic, based on development issues and based on a state which the BJP has effectively delivered.
Effectively, you see yourself in the next 2 or 3 years taking over the party?
Well, I have no such ambitions. I see myself as an integral part of the party, working for the party in the same capacities in which I am working today.
Ms. Jaitley, thank you very much for talking to me. Thank you very much.